to you when you say that the business committee, you know, you are a respected lawyer. We respect you. You are going beyond your powers. So the business committee will have to look at this matter again. And Speaker, we insist, we on this side of the House insist. Not too long ago, you were here. You were asking all the questions. Why are you shielding the ministers? Speaker, I want to look into the eyes of the majority leader, Mr. Majority Leader. Why are you shielding your ministers? You said you have achieved so much within 1 year. Come and answer questions. You are writing all manner of excuses. Within a week, we have received so much of excuses. Why? Maybe the Mr. President should be looking at the first reshuffle.
So far, so many.
The ministers must come and attend upon this House and respond to questions coming from the people's representatives. We on this House cannot take it lightly. So, Majority Leader, now you are looking into my eyes. We will be expecting the ministers to respond, and they must respond.
Leader, I think the minister is here.
Mr. Speaker, the minister is here, yes, but the Majority Leader must tell us something.
You should know your friend Kwame Abuja is also sitting here.
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm not talking about the road minister. The road minister is an exception. He knows. In terms of his presence in this House and delivery. The road minister, even though my road is not done, that's fine. But he's always here. Mr. Speaker, the road minister is always here. So, Majority Leader, I beg you. We may have to look at this matter again at the business committee and maybe structure a roadmap.
Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in all this, he hasn't displayed to this House one single letter asking for extension of time by any minister. Not one single letter. He has not shown one single letter. And yet he has said more than 100 times since he was on his feet that ministers write letters asking for postponement. He hasn't shown one single letter from a minister asking for postponement. Evidence. You see, the reputation of a whole group is at stake here. That is the ministers. Some of the highest placed appointments in the country. And when you stand here and say that when they are asked questions, they write letters seeking postponement and etc., stating that they are unavailable, and you don't display one single letter, it's not good. It's not fair to them. So please, show me the letters. No letters. And I'm not saying that you ask trivial questions. No. I didn't say that. No. I'm saying that you are free to ask all sorts of questions. And that you even asked a question about the number of shrines in Ghana. I said last week, you wanted the Minister for Local Government to tell us how many shrines we have in Ghana. And the minister came here and gave an indication that he didn't know the number of shrines we have in Ghana. I'm giving an indication of the type of questions you ask and how those questions are transmitted to the ministers, and the ministers come and answer those questions. I'm not trivializing your questions. You ask a question about how many shrines we have in Ghana. And the Minister for Local Government, Rural Development and Religious Affairs left his office, came here and answered the question. So please, ministers do show up and answer questions. Where they are unavailable, they indicate that because they also have responsibilities. And I just gave you an example. The Minister for Roads and Highways is sitting here. He is scheduled to answer questions tomorrow. Then he has to go and do sword cutting in the Savannah region. And so he's just asking me if I can reschedule his questions to Thursday. And I just agreed with him. He says, I said he should write. And he's written. But when there's good cause, the rules are clear. Let me just read the rules again. Rule 77. 1, 2, 3. A minister, a member, or the head of an independent constitutional body shall, by order of the House, attend a sitting of the House to answer a question. Question time shall ordinarily not exceed 1 hour, except that the Speaker may permit a question after the expiration of the time stated. Rule 3 is, sub-rule 3 is where I really want to focus on. A minister, a member, or the head of an independent constitutional body shall not take more than 3 weeks, shall not take more than 3 weeks upon receipt of a question from the House to respond to the question. So ministers have 3 weeks upon receipt of the question. Upon receipt of the question. And if you recall, at the last business committee meeting, you were not there. By the last business committee meeting, I raised the issue of whether or not the table office deal directly with the ministers or with their staff. I raised that issue at the meeting. You recall? And they confirmed that they have a scheduled officer at the ministry that they deal with. And I said, how sure are you that when you deal with the scheduled officer, the minister has actual notice of the question and the time scheduled for the minister to come and answer the question? And they admitted that there was no guarantee that when you deal with the scheduled officer, the minister does have notice. At that meeting, I said, let us make it a practice as a committee, business committee, that we will always call the ministers and let them know that we have scheduled them on certain days so that they are aware. And there and then, we started calling the ministers. And the ministers did confirm that they didn't know about the pendency of those questions or the schedule of those questions. And for some of them, the dates that we scheduled were not convenient. So we directly engaged them and rescheduled it to dates that was convenient, including the minister who is here today. Axel, she's here. We called her, and she said she wasn't available the date that we scheduled her. We asked when she'll be available. She gave today. That's how come all her questions have been scheduled, and she is here. So the issue has always been the way that we do business. Because the rule says the minister should be the one that should have notice of the question, and he's the one that must come, and he has 3 weeks to come. But when we run our practices in a way that the person that should have notice doesn't have notice, you can't blame that person for not coming. That is the issue that the Speaker just addressed, where even leave of absence, the communication does not get to the person who is supposed to grant the leave. So let's also iron out our practices and our procedures so that we can comply strictly with our rules. So we cannot say that the ministers are not coming to answer questions and that they are always, asking for change of dates and etc. Because the rule is that we engage them, we agree with them when they can come, but then they have 3 weeks within which they must come. Those are the issues. Mr. Speaker, the minister is here. I think that the rule is clear. We shouldn't exceed 1 hour of question time, except with your discretion or leave. So let's have the minister answer the questions. These issues, you and I should take them up at business committee meetings and resolve them. It's the province of business committee.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, not to belabor the point, just to establish one fact, and I see colleagues, my respected Honorable Napo wants to speak. You see, the point must be made that we on this side appreciate the fact that we can disagree to agree. And we should get practical. Leader, there are times you engage us and say that, I recall not too long ago, we had to reduce the number of follow-ups as a result of our engagement at the business committee. It was because of the exigencies of the business that we had at that time. Our problem is that it is against our practice for the table office to be told that you must seek the availability of the minister before you schedule the question. That is wrong. Parliament must schedule the question and the ministers must respond. For instance, where the road minister, you were citing an example of the road minister. There are times we even reschedule at conclave without necessarily receiving a formal correspondent from the minister. So, majority leader, get the point that we are with you. We want businesses to be done. We want to get clinical, but Parliament cannot be at the discretion of the executive. No, that cannot be.
It cannot.
No. It cannot be.
It cannot.
We must schedule. And our scheduling is not based on the availability of the minister. When we schedule and leader, listen to me. When we schedule and the ministers are not available, it's their duty to write to Parliament. Otherwise, our oversight will be undermined. So I'm saying that to say that we should seek the availability of the minister before we schedule, that is wrong and it's against our practice. And the business committee cannot make that determination for plenary. That is where I want to revert the mind of the majority leader so that we can make progress. Where the ministers for the minister is engaged and he cannot come, sometimes they don't even write. They call us the leaders. And we have often acceded to it. So, leader, don't get it wrong. We are not saying that even where the minister cannot come, we are insisting that the minister should be here. No. Where there are genuine reasons, we are reasonable to know that we have to accede to those reasonable grounds being given. But when it becomes like Parliament must call the minister must accede before this scheduling is done, that for me is against the practice. And we'll be undermining our oversight as an arm of government. That's my simple view. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, the point being made is not that the minister should dictate the time. At that business committee meeting, there was a complaint about ministers not showing up to answer questions. That was the complaint. Then I asked, do they even know that they have been scheduled to answer questions? That was the question I asked. And I asked, how do you communicate to the ministers when they have questions to answer? And she then revealed that there's a contact person at the ministry that they deal with. Then I said, are you sure the contact people communicate to the ministers? Because it might just be that the ministers are not even aware. Because sometimes I come here and I'm sitting here, I notice that the minister has questions, he's not aware, I call him. Minister, you have questions to answer. The problem that I face then is that he's not aware of the question, he's actually ready to come, but then he's not prepared to answer the question. He's not prepared, he hasn't been properly briefed. And when ministers come without being properly briefed, it becomes embarrassing for me here when they appear not to be on top of their brief. So I prefer that the ministers are aware, have prepared, are on top of their brief, then they can answer the question competently to the satisfaction of the members. So at that meeting, we then said, is it possible for us as a committee to always call them to be sure that first they are aware, and secondly, to agree with them on their availability. And I'm saying that the rule says that he must show up within 3 weeks upon receipt of the question, within 3 weeks. So it means that he has 3 weeks latitude to negotiate with you. If he receives it today, and you call him and say, I've scheduled you tomorrow morning, he can say, no, I'll come in 2 weeks' time. Or even a day before the expiry of the 3 weeks. He has that latitude. So when he gives that indication, he is not saying that the legislature is being subjugated to the whims and caprices of the executive. You gave him 3 weeks. Your rules say 3 weeks. So it gives him, ample room to fix the time when he will come and answer the questions within the 3 weeks. So I don't see where we are sending this. So let me just plead with Mr. Speaker that let's have the minister answer the questions. Because if you also summon ministers to come and answer questions, and they come and they sit there, and then you engage in long, winding arguments and debates about the questions that they are here to answer.
Well. Leader.
It's very important. When he says that ministers come here and we elect to engage in long discussion. That is most unfortunate to come from the majority leader. This is the Parliament of Ghana, and we determine our business. The ministers, we are not part of the executive. This is an arm of government. Now I'm talking to ministers. I'm talking to ministers.
But incidentally, he's also a member of Parliament. So,
Mr. Speaker, that comment is most unfortunate. To say that we engage in long, winding statement. Oh, majority leader, Abba. One, Abba. Oh, you made a fantastic point. That one is unfortunate. Redraw that part. This is Parliament. Everything here we say, we